Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Tiffany Johannes, and I am your 2023 Canopy Realtor Association President. This morning, you get two association presidents for the price of one. Canopy is excited to partner with Piedmont Regional Association of Realtors, and its president, Jerry Ann Jackson, is here with us today. We are happy to bring this event to both Canopy and Piedmont members. Welcome, Jerry Ann. The River District Master Plan community will be a city within a city and offer a unique living concept designed to bring city life and nature together. The 1,400-acre master planning community will combine the beauty of the Catawba River with the easy access to Uptown Charlotte and the airport. When built out, the River District will host 8 million square feet of office space, 2,300 single-family homes, 2,350 multifamily homes, and over 550 acres of open space. You might recall the association hosted a program regarding the River District way back in 2017 at the Whitewater Center. We are excited to continue the conversation with our guest speakers here with us today. So before we get started, we want to let you know about some upcoming events. Join members of Canopy's Diversity and Action Committee and march in the Charlotte Pride Parade on Sunday, August 20th in Uptown Charlotte. Visit www.canopyrealtors.com for more information and to register. Mark your calendars for August 21st. We will have Canopy's first ice cream social and candidate rally at the Canopy building from 3 to 4:30. You can grab a scoop of your favorite flavor, pile in the toppings, and hear from members running for NC Realtors, Canopy Realtor Association, and Canopy MLS positions. You can register at canopyrealtors.com. Jerry Ann, I'm going to turn it over to you to share some Piedmont Regional Association Realtors announcements now. Welcome, Jerry Ann.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, and welcome again, everyone, and happy Monday. We're so excited that you're able to join us today. Piedmont Regional Association of Realtors will host PRAR Night on September 14th at Hoppin' Rock Hill from 4 to 6 p.m. For $35, you can enjoy an exclusive gathering with other realtors to discuss how RPAC safeguards homeownership rights and private property rights. This event is for South Carolina Realtor members only, and you can register on our association website. Tiffany, thank you again for joining us with this conversation, and I'm turning it back over to you.
Thank you so much. So for some quick introductions before we get started this morning, we have Chase Carley and Andrew Baisden from the River District Project and Lee Cochran from Laurel Street, which develops communities for working families and seniors. Chase Carley joined Crescent Communities in 2016 and currently serves as Managing Director of Life Sciences and Commercial Development for the River District. Chase is responsible for land acquisition, entitlement, and development. He has over 16 years of experience in commercial and residential acquisition and development, having led development of life science space, industrial, and residential units across the Southeast. Andrew Baisden joined Crescent Communities in 2021 and is responsible for all marketing and brand positioning for the River District. He previously held the positions of Director of Development, Land and Dispositions, Marketing Manager for the commercial side, and Development Associate on the multifamily side. Lee Cochran leads development activities for Laurel Street. His oversight starts at project conception and runs through completion and stabilization. He is responsible for development and project financing relationships. Lee has more than 20 years of experience in affordable and market rate housing development, including elderly and family housing. Welcome. We can't wait to learn more. The floor is yours, gentlemen.
Good morning. Well, thanks for that opening, Tiffany. You did a really great job explaining the project. It feels like it's already been built with the way you explained it, but we are on the doorsteps of its beginning and very excited to be here with your community so we can share a bit more about our vision for this project, where we are and where we're going. But for those of you that are new to Crescent, we are celebrating our 60th anniversary. We're a mixed-use master plan developer with 12 offices across the country, but headquartered here in Charlotte. We focus our energies developing exceptional Class A, multifamily, single-family, industrial, office, and life science master plan communities. And so today I do have some presentation material that I'll review just to introduce the project, along with Andrew Baisden, our head of marketing, as well as Lee Cochran, who's our partner, as you mentioned, with Laurel Street Residential, the mixed income developer that we're partnering with here at the River District, as well as a few other projects as they offer growing solutions for what's continuing to be a growing problem, not in just Charlotte, but across the country for affordable and just attainable housing. So I will share my screen now. I had that ready to go, and then I got, I don't know if I actually can here. Normally it's got the share at the bottom, but not seeing. Oh, there we go. I see it now. Great. Can everybody see this? Thumbs up. Perfect. Okay, so the River District, it's this awakening of the west side of Charlotte, a new chapter of how partnership can really craft so much more than just the proprietor can alone. Yes, we are the master developer, but we would really not be able to bring such an exciting, thoughtfully planned project forward if it wasn't for many of our partners and stakeholders that have embraced this vision of a city within a city, like the city of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, even our transportation department, the airport, Charlotte-Mecklenburg school systems, Laurel Street, the Catawba River Keeper, and just to name a few that we'll go through even further today. But what is the River District? We've been talking about it for a long time, and so I thought I'd share really the beginning foundation of how we begin to look at a project at this scale and size, so then to kind of illustrate where we're going and how we're going to get there. It remains to date, as you mentioned, one of the largest rezonings in Charlotte's history for over 8 million square feet of office, 5,000 homes and apartments, 500,000 square feet of retail, and 1,000 hotel rooms. It represents the largest area of undeveloped land shown in orange in the city of Charlotte. It happens to be anchored by the 10th busiest airport in the world to the east with direct access to 485 and this beautiful bordered by our Catawba River. It's designed as a model of how you'd shape a city out of whole cloth if ever given the chance. And while we, along with our partners and everyone on this call, has that chance to shape these 1,400 acres into this city within a city. But what is it? I can tell you it's not a subdivision. It's not a retail center. It's not an office park. It is the soul of the city and the heart of nature. And our vision for this development stems through this statement, and everything that we've designed to date and intend to see built here will flow through these words. When Crescent starts any development, no matter how large or how small, we always start with this canvas process, and it's meant to kind of whiteboard the ideas of what this project could become. And it's not to say this is how many square feet of project can be built, how many unit counts could occur, where the roads will go, but really what is the heartstrings that'll be seen and tugged upon through the beginning to the end of the project that we can see as it develops out. And those are called our vision and experience principles. So those here are these four, think small scale first as we plan, develop, and operate. So this is thinking about it from the pedestrian's viewpoint, not the automobile, from the resident, not just the home and the spatial planning. Provide a uniquely compelling connection to nature and the outdoors. I think that's very important to mention just simply because the timeline of this, as these were developed back in 2018, and as COVID occurred, and as getting outdoors, embracing nature, understanding how you live, and work in a different environment, it's become incredibly more important and valuable when you think about, again, where you go, where you work, but also where you live. And the River District will create a very uniquely compelling opportunities to bring this forward. And then design for cultural, social, and stylistic collisions. Again, this is not an office park. It's not a subdivision. It's not sameness. And so you'll see as we illustrate sort of how we're going to develop, again, phase one, but also through the life of the project, we'll have small scale retail, large scale retail, small office to larger campus opportunities, and even a varied myriad range of housing opportunities ranging from 1,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet. So we know that, we're going to be bettering people's lives by building community, and you can't build community with just sort of sameness. So a mixture of demographics, a mixture of place type built, and then also creating a community of discovery and evolution. How could you not have that to be something so strong, being anchored by the river, being anchored by the airport, and with our civic partnerships with CMS, Discovery Place, Parks and Rec, we know that we'll be able to bring an opportunity where lifelong learning, healthy living can really be prominent. And so what's led to that is our sort of master plan. The River District is a connected network of homes, retail shops, restaurants, office buildings, schools, civic centers, and public spaces that are designed and built around the allure of these parks and trails and forests and the river in these wide open spaces. The built environment, the roads and the rooftops within the River District, will be woven within these green spaces. It'll be evolve over time, but it is defined by the relationship of the land, again, to the human scale, not the automobile. It's no coincidence that the world's most desirable neighborhoods are those that are well served by a park or green space, because they offer a place to gather your thoughts, and ground you. At the River District, as you mentioned, Tiffany, 40% of the development's reserved for green space. And with our partnership with the county's Park and Rec team, people will spend more time outside, strolling along the river's edge or biking on one of the robust network of over 30 miles of trails we have planned, 10 of which we've actually already built. And if you were to go on and I think YouTube, if that's a word, the airline park, you'll see some of the active trail videos that have been out there and being enjoyed now, all being managed by our partner, the Carolina Trailblazers. Employees, residents, visitors will enjoy fresh air, taking better care of themselves. Where you can walk through our town center to lead you down by a concert at the city's only public riverfront park and mixed-use destination, or coming through the farmers market. We're stocked by our 2-acre working farm that we'll be delivering in phase 1. That Andrew will do a good job explaining where that is. So, there are many wonderful places that will feel connected in nature, but very few of them really beat with the heart of the city, but we think ours will. So starting as looking at the master plan and the vision to the right, towards the east, closest to 45, that's where we envision more of a diverse employment center. A broad spectrum of office campus headquarter opportunities from small to large. And then as you head west towards the river, that transitions into more of a commercial gateway corridor, hotel, small office, retail intersections, and a collection of intertwined residential commercial spaces. And then as you get further to the west towards the river, be much more dominant residential. Highly accessible employment centers, with neighborhood retail amenities, and just a range of housing opportunities, both from small to large, for rent, for sale, many different price points, many different builders. Crescent is not a home builder per se. We have experienced a lot of home building practice in our past, but in order to really create the collision and stylistic opportunities that we want to see built here, we will partner with a number of different single-family home builders within this market. And then this is a really helpful, I think, kind of illustration of, I guess, our commitment to the green spaces. So again, one of these experience principles of how we develop is to provide this uniquely compelling connection to nature and outdoors, with 40% of this 1,400 acres being preserved. And this offers sort of a framework where if you were to turn the roads and the rooftops off that I showed here, and really kind of got a sense of just the dense urban environment around the opportunities for public placemaking within the parks, you can kind of get a sense of what we are going to work within in order to, as you start from the north, we have a nature preserve fronting the Catawba River. With what's in pink are these major thoroughfare pedestrian corridors, and trail networks, both for mountain biking dedicated for pedestrian friendly, that's more of a natural turf, to then a more of a street type profile trail that's be paved spaces that'll be able to connect from the employment centers to the town center and then all the way to the river. This is pretty helpful information just to kind of get a sense. This has been again how we think about some of the connections from these trails. Over 500 acres of preserved open space, active and passive. We have 2.5 miles of just protected bike lanes, which I'll show a little bit more about that here in a second. And then, almost 3 miles of protected riverfront, over 30 different parks. And, the parks will range in size from 1 acre to 20 acres. And these are not ball fields. This is not the, either soccer fields on the weekend, but these are spaces meant to be, both passive and active in different ways. And also, just not to mention this having the opportunity for the only riverfront park in all of the city of Charlotte. I grew up here, never envisioned the city of Charlotte to be a river city, and it may not become so dominant, but we see a lot of connections to nature, a lot of connections to water, and a lot of development occurring in or along the Catawba River to embrace that just beautiful opportunity to learn and experience and adventure through something so dominant in our backyard that we have very little opportunity to access. And then, some of our green spaces, and some of the amenities that we'll develop for not only the public, but also for the residents. There'll be many different clubhouses from small to large style pools. We'll have community farms, community boat launches, substantial amount of trails, dog parks, farmers market, learning programs, and school facilities, as well as a potential nature center down by the river. The Riverfront Park, again, this is one of the most important parts of this project in that it's the only place where the city of Charlotte will have public access to the river. And so we're spending a lot of time to make sure as we focus through how this area gets developed, that it will grow and expand over time to kind of learn with the community. So it's not, so it's delivered in the right way. But some things that we know that we will have will be sort of this amphitheater, staged, terrace, terra that'll kind of flow down to the river, accessible boat launch, not motorized boat, but non-motorized kayaks and paddle boards, with an opportunity to where you could potentially drop in from the Whitewater Center, paddle down to the river, to the river district, hop out, grab lunch, experience the trails, rent a bike, and then be able to shuttle back up to the Catawba River. So sort of this blue line circle. This is not just an idea. There's a commitment within our rezoning where we have to deliver this setting by the 1,000th CO. And that sounds like a lot, but as Andrew will get through sort of our first phase, that'll come up fairly rapidly. So we see this park being developed in pretty full fashion within the next 3 years. Again, this city out of the city, out of whole cloth, you can't just do it with just homes and office spaces. And so we were very thoughtful in how we put together the idea of civic stewardship and partnership within the project, and not just in conversation, but in commitments through the rezoning, where we agreed to reserve land and sell land for schools, for fire stations, for police stations, for CATS multimodal opportunities. And so we see this coming along fairly soon with where some commitments and announcements with Charlotte Mecklenburg school systems to see middle and or high school opportunities to be developed within the project earlier rather than later. There's a growing need for a demand and experience within the school system, and having something done that's aligned with the project, such as this, with its vision and experience around environment and learning, we think there'll be a strong opportunity for this school system to have a very dominant STEM curriculum. And some of these areas where we've already identified where the police station, where the fire station, where the Mecklenburg school systems will locate. And we'll hope to have some announcements about that later on this year. And this is again, we haven't built anything yet. We are under construction, but if you were to sort of look at this from a cut profile as this sort of urban type, city within the city, the new smart city living environment, how you have urban planning mixed with sort of this, not a segmented, commercial and residential bifurcated type project, or these mixed use centers, similar to what, how you would envision a new city being developed today. And by doing so, as you look at this kind of street profile, this isn't meant to be sort of a green suburban Greenway Boulevard where offices and homes are pushed very far off the roadways. This is to create a pedestrian-friendly urban environment where we have a mix of office scaled back by lower density residential and further lower density residential as you move back to those protected creek areas or protected natural areas that can then become those passive or active embraces back to nature. What we are under construction with now is West Boulevard. So we're connecting 485 to the town center of the project now. And just about all of the thoroughfare roadways within the project are going to look like this street profile here. And this is a prototype street type that we've designed and partnered with Charlotte Mecklenburg for, where it moves the pedestrian opportunities out of the roadway. So the biking community with designated biking facilities and designated walking facilities, 8-foot pedestrian friendly, 6-foot pedestrian bike facilities outside of the roadway that are marked to kind of flow one way. And we think that this will be a much healthier way to create pedestrian-friendly transportation, so you don't have to get in your car to go around into the project and just to grab lunch. This is this is kind of an idea that we're working with, and I show this to really illustrate the sort of the scale in which we see this project evolving. You drive around 45, you pass under the all the different interchanges, and it's just a sort of dilapidated bridges and not very embracing or illustrative. And so what we are going to begin to work with is how do we sort of set the announcement and the sense of arrival within this 1,500 acre area. And this being West Boulevard's overpass over 45, how we can create some art, create a kind of differentiated network to say, this is something new. You've arrived in an area that's got a completely different feeling and just vibe, and doing so with art. Within all of our projects, art's very fundamental. Again, no matter how large or small. And this is just one of the beginning elements of what we intend to do to create that, again, sense of arrival to this type of project. So what we're doing now is we've been doing for the past 3 years, building a substantial amount of infrastructure to deliver roads and water and sewer to the project so that it can be really begun in an appropriate way. And so we've kind of got these two anchor points. You've got the town center, which is shown in this, what's in blue, and Andrew's going to walk through that. That's called Westro. And then on the east side, what's in the circle in yellow, that's the frontage of West Boulevard and 45. And Crescent has a substantial history and tenure in sustainability. And one of those elements is sort of a mass timber office. So it's a building that's much more environmentally friendly, sort of net zero carbon neutral type of commercial space that's, it's built with cross-laminated timber. It's a much cleaner environment. And if you can see sort of some of the renderings here, we think that making sure that we demonstrate the front door of the project as you exit off 45, again, even looking back at the artistic sort of bridge resurfacing, how we can make sure that sense of arrival is prominent, and the beginning threads of this is an employment opportunity, a sustainable opportunity, and something that's consistent with our vision and our experience principles with this project. A mass timber office at the front door will send a pretty strong signal that this is not something, this is something unique. And then we get to the west, so Westro, how a project of this scale begins will really set the trajectory and expectations of what the future will offer. And given we don't want to step forward tepidly, so we are under construction now with a 70-acre mixed-use town center, called Westro. It's our vision that the intersection of West Boulevard and Dixie River Road will be the center of gravity for the project. And what better place to start than Main and Main? So this will really be a mixed-use development that blends the diversity of this urban scale living, a range of residential offerings for sale and for rent, small retail, restaurant space, event space, and with immediate proximity to our trails, our parks, the event lawns, all anchored by this 2-acre professionally managed working farm. So I think, Andrew, if you want to pick up here and kind of share with this group what this first phase will look like and what it envisions.
Yep. Good morning, everybody. My name is Andrew Basin. I work alongside Chase at the River District as the marketing director. Chase, can you maximize the presentation screen? It's okay if you can't. There you go. All right, awesome. So as Chase referenced, we are super excited to make progress here in Westro, which is our 70-acre town center in the River District. It is under construction today. This sort of aerial overshot or overview gives you an idea of just all the different types of diverse product that will begin vertical construction really first and second quarter of next year, with expected deliveries for everything from market rate apartments, which is Crescent's novel product you see here on the rendering, Laurel Street's mixed income affordable housing product, single family detached with home builder partners that we hope to be able to announce here in the next couple of months. Also some townhome product. And then as Chase referenced, the 2-acre working farm is really sort of the master amenity and focal point for this town center. It's sort of what we envision the place where people will congregate. Right next to that farm will be a restaurant that will likely play off of the farm as in some sort of farm to table type offering. We have office over retail along Waterway Street, which is again sort of this main town center street. For those of you familiar, I suspect we have a lot of folks on the call from South Carolina. This a good analog, if you will, for sort of this Main Street area would be Kingsley in Fort Mill, and again also not dissimilar from Baxter Village. The working farm will be run and managed by a professional farmer, and this is actually a gentleman from Arizona that has created a development called Agritopia. Encourage people to look that up. It's really fascinating and sort of a new model in master plan community building. There will be a farm shop so people can come in and buy produce directly from the farmer. There'll be farmers markets, festivals. There's an event lawn outside. We anticipate strong interest in weddings and events. And then we can also actually shut down this street for festivals and events in various times throughout the development. Next slide. So again, showing you some really pretty images. This is Waterway Street, sort of in the top left-hand corner. That's sort of that Kingsley model, if you will. There will be boutique retail opportunities, coffee shops, smaller retail opportunities, and then second level office. There won't be, the River District has 8 million square feet of office entitlements, as Chase referenced. The larger office users will be to the east of Dixie River Road along 45. Again, this would be more community office, professional dentists, lawyers, that sort of thing. In this top left-hand picture, you can see the closest to us would be the Trailhead building, where the farmer will have some of his product, and then we will also, it will be a community center with information about the community, not a sales center per se. That will be handled by builders and their model homes, but just a good place for people in the community to congregate. This is also the area where you would be able to rent bikes and take the trails from this farm all the way down to the river. And then you can also just see how active this area would be. I like to describe this as, the place in the community where you could come on the weekend. If you don't live in the community, you could come on the weekend, almost like people do at the Whitewater Center, and just people watch, right? You could come get coffee, you could sit outside, you could shop, your kids could play on the playground. Later in the afternoon, again, you could get on a bike, take it down to the river. So highly activated, highly programmed, again, where most of the energy in the community will come from. Next slide. This is just a sort of zoomed in rendering of Waterway Street. And again, showing you sort of that boutique office and retail, again, super pedestrian friendly, hyper programmed for activities and festivals, events, as much as possible. Next slide. I think this is a great, this gives a great sort of overview. Chase referenced the diversity of products that we're going to be offering in Westro. So again, every product types from single family, townhomes, etc., from the 1,300 square feet all the way up to 3,000 square feet. This gives a really good overview to show that this will not be a cookie cutter community. We've spent years developing the architectural plans for this community and take a lot of pride in that. Also sort of showcasing the walkability, some alley loaded product. And really, we haven't gotten in too deep just yet on what the demographic that will be here at the River District, but I really think it's going to be a pretty broad range, everything from millennials that are interested in either first home buying or market rate apartments, all the way up to empty nesters, retirees that want less maintenance and more activity and vibrancy in their home offering. Next slide. This is sort of an older dated view of sort of the back restaurant looking out towards the farm and also the playground. Again, you know, park your car and spend time walking around, letting your kids run free, ride bikes, ride scooters, having a beverage, really just a programmed area in the community. Chase referenced again, we have, I believe, 30 plus pocket parks throughout the community.
And this is just one of 7 in Westro. So just our first 70-acre phase, you know, and that 30 will likely grow as we've planned this, again, first 70-acre phase, having already 7 different parks in it, 100 homes, you know, 600 apartments, office, retail. And so as this project gets, you know, more urban and densified, we see the opportunities of having small to large scale parks just growing and multiplying.
Yep. Next slide. Again, more viewpoints of Chase. What would this be?
This is kind of like when we think about how we see some of the residential livings. You know, a goal for us in this project is to really have community embrace itself. And so by doing so, with having, you know, the front yards and the backyards, you know, let's live more in our front yard and more with our community, and not so much sort of in our backyard where there's not, you know, community isn't being developed. And so as we, you know, we want to have, you know, there are certainly going to be places where there'll be backyards, but we want to create opportunities where if those backyards can intersect, or yes, having different housing products where are more forward facing, front porch, you know, where there, again, it's a more vibrant community. And so there will be some more casual, you know, softer spoken messages along that in other phases, but in this town center, you know, we see that being pretty important. And so this is just a way to see how some of the backyards will embrace themselves with the sort of the pedestrian thoroughfare meant just for this small area. And then I think you've seen this one before.
Yep. This is just, again, another good sort of high level overview of just the diversity of product, the walkability of streets. This is the street that could actually close down to vehicular traffic at certain points of time. All right, so this is just getting sort of nuts and bolts of square footages and sizes. Our office and retail, just for those interested in Westro specifically, we have partnered with Thrift Commercial that will sort of is already getting tons of inquiries for folks that are interested in retail space or office space. Again, on this sort of diagram, number B or letter B, it would be a restaurant that we're having some really productive conversations with people. D is the Trailhead building, again, sort of hybrid community center, and also a facility where the farmer will have a lot of his equipment stored and then also some of his product that's harvested. And then E, F, and G are that sort of office over retail product type.
And I think it's important. So D, again, that community aspect, you know, a lot of times you think about a clubhouse in a neighborhood where you got 3,000 square feet that's just empty and not programmed up until the weekends where someone rents it for a birthday party. You know, this is meant to be, you know, activated full time. And so it's not, there will be opportunities to have it sort of reserved for certain events, but otherwise it's open, you know, 24 hours a day. And we've got you know, even the concept, not even the concept, but the plans now for full service kitchen, grab and go lunch, grab and go, you know, coffee and beverage. So it is a stopping point for the project. It's, you know, again, as you enter into the parking lot, you go into the trail networks, you come visit, you know, not just for those that, you know, live directly nearby, but those that want to come and visit the River District. You know, this is a destination type of a development, not just, again, the subdivision community that's meant to be sort of privatized. You know, this is open to the public to an extent where, you know, the riverfront access, our trails, you know, the event lawns, you know, this is meant to sort of bring and welcome, you know, the west side to really kind of showcase what a master plan development, you know, with this much thought in around sustainability, urban living can really create. And so we're excited for it to, not to be for the residents, but also to be for the greater area. And I think all our pictures kind of showcase this, but just kind of label out where we've got, gardens, playgrounds, a very dense area again. And this is only kind of park number one, if you will. I think what I like about this is that it shows, again, embracing nature. There's playgrounds, and when you see this, a playground may not jump out at you. It's not a twisted, aluminum metal piping that's red, orange, and green. This is a natural environment where we create play spaces with, natural materials. And, we harvest a lot of wood. We intend to reuse a lot of wood, but we intend to be intentional so that can be a learning environment, but also, a fun experience as well. And so this will be, if anyone grew up going to, the slide that was at Independence, not Independence Park, but well, anyway, so this trail system and then the slide network, it'll be very, very artistic and just very welcoming and kind of a beacon as far as what is more to come. Even more of the parks, everyone tries to do these detention ponds really well. We spent a lot of time curating how this can be an experience to be welcomed within the community. So having sort of fireside dock area to come out, fish, to sort of learn and experience, this type of part of nature, we think it's pretty important. And just some reference images on the right, sort of how we see, Kingsley or even the wharf in DC, on how we can kind of, again, bring people to these natural moments to have some of this discovery. Andrew.
Yeah, so this is it, and this is it today. You can see West Boulevard sort of on the northern portion, close to the 485 corridor. This is expected. West Boulevard is expected to deliver by the end of next year.
Summer of next year.
Summer of next year.
4-lane undivided pedestrian bike facilities, along with what we're doing on Dixie River Road in front of this road.
If you were going out to the property today, it's really there's really only two ways. You could come south from the Berwick area, or sort of north on the top end of Dixie River Road along the airport. But this, we get a lot of questions from people. Is this ever going to happen? And when are home? This is kind of a good overview to show you just how much work it takes from an infrastructure, water, sewer, etc. standpoint. So Chase referenced some of the civic partners. Again, we've been master planning, developing, engineering this project for the better part of 8 years. And over that time frame, we've developed a host of partnerships with nonprofits and environmental groups, and are incredibly active with each and every single one of these that you see on the screen. Obviously, with our proximity to the Catawba River, we are extremely close and intentional with all of our stormwater retention and runoff, and have worked hand in hand with the Catawba River Keeper from day one on planning for that. Again, it's a big development, and with its proximity to the river, where we are hypersensitive to making sure that we are not contributing to any unwanted runoff in the river. The Catawba Lands Conservancy, we actually have a really unique partnership that we've kicked off with them just recently to conduct what they call biodiversity studies. And these are primarily being done on the 550 acres plus of open and preserved natural area across the community. And that's everything from, we literally have biologists that are out on the site now that are basically auditing and monitoring the types of fauna, flora, amphibians, microinvertebrates, reptiles, birds, you name it, just to create a baseline for what our population is currently. And then as the community develops, we want to make sure that we're being good stewards and we aren't affecting the environment that those natural species are living in. Chase again referenced the Airline Bike Park. They've been a tremendous partner. Those bike trails are open and active. I like to call it sort of, if you're a big mountain biker, one of the better kept secrets in the region. I think most people assume the Whitewater Center is the place to go for mountain biking trails, but I would encourage you to check out the Airline Bike Park. They've put a lot of sweat and equity into that, and it's always going to be a natural amenity for the River District and its residents and visitors going forward. Next slide. So, well, as Chase referenced, sustainability stewardship is one of the most important parts in everything we do with Crescent Communities and at the River District. And with the size and scale of this project being 1,400 acres several years ago, when we were trying to come up with our goals for sustainability, you know, and not just a LEED building or a Fitwell building, we were trying to look for something more holistic and encompassing of the entire community. We came across a company headquartered in the UK called Bioregional, and they developed this framework called One Planet Living. And we could spend a whole hour talking about this, but the gist of it is we as a planet and we as the United States are consuming as if we have 5 planets, right? And really we need to get to the point in time where our consumption is that of one planet. So thus the name One Planet Living. It's based off of 10 principles, and you know, everything from land and nature, which the biodiversity study I just referenced would fall under that. Materials and products, Chase mentioned the mass timber building that we have at the front of the community. Mass timber is a much more sustainable building type because it utilizes reduced carbon and not as much concrete. And so every single one of these elements, we have developed a plan and a framework for how we as the River District are going to tackle initiatives that speak to each of these principles. There's a lot more that could be uncovered there. Would encourage everyone. I'm sure we'll get this question at some point. Please follow us on, this is a plug, but please follow us on Instagram at the River District. We post frequent updates about these initiatives, about, you know, updates to the community. When we have builders that we can announce, we will post it to that. That is our VIP list, if you will, to follow us on Instagram. Next slide. So again, diving in a little bit more into this, we're having some really productive and interesting conversations with groups such as Duke Energy to bring what would be the first net zero homes to the region. So again, very ambitious in some aspects, but you know, with a community that has a lifespan of 10, 15 years, we've got to start planning for things well in advance, and even you know, having adequate infrastructure for electric vehicles is another discussion that we're having with Duke Energy and Honeywell. If you read the reports on automobile sales by 2030, you know, at least 40% of all new car sales will be electric vehicles, but we've got to have the infrastructure to, you know, support those. And so we are exploring those and planning for that type of infrastructure with groups like Duke and Honeywell as well. Okay, we are kicking it over to Lee Cochran with Laurel Street Residential, who is going to speak a little bit about mixed income and affordable housing.
Thank you, Andrew, and thanks everybody. We're thrilled to be part of the River District. From the very beginning, Crescent approached us and made a commitment in their zoning that affordable and mixed income housing would be a part of River District from the very beginning, not as an afterthought at the end, but in every phase. We'll be their partner through this. So we're thrilled to be part of it. Just Laurel Street, we're Charlotte-based mixed income housing firm. We develop for both seniors and families. We can go to the next slide. We've got in our 12-year history, have built a portfolio of approximately 5,000 units across the Southeast, building mixed income housing for families and seniors of a variety of income. As I said, 12th year of operation, well known for our partnership. This is not our only partnership with Crescent, but also with nonprofits, churches, housing authorities, other developers to bring affordable and mixed income housing. We're a certified minority and women-owned business. Deanne Nelson is our founder and CEO. That's the very quick about who we are, and just a very quick about what we're building on the next slide, what we're building in River District in the first phase. So this is part of the town center. We're building 87 multifamily units. It's in a single building, elevator served, interior corridor. And you can see on the slide, it'll serve a variety of incomes, folks at 30% of median income, 60% of median income, and 80% of median income. Because it's in an elevator served building, it'll have 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. So this could be seniors, it could be families, it could be singles, it could be couples. So it's designed to really serve folks at a variety of incomes, but a variety of ages, all in a building that seamlessly integrates into River District. As you drive around River District, you won't be able to tell the difference between a market rate multifamily and the mixed income multifamily. You'll just kind of all will be seamlessly part of the community. And it is part of the first vertical phase. So we are a vertical builder, and we'll be delivering, if all goes well, we'll be starting construction as one of those initial vertical construction phases next year, and finishing hopefully by the end of 2025. I'll just before I turn it back to Chase and Andrew, I think this is a specific mixed income housing development, but the fact that River District will also include houses and apartments of a variety of sizes and price points kind of makes the entire community designed to serve folks of every income and every age. And I want to commend Crescent for that, but we just want to be a small part of making sure that the entire community is accessible. So with that, I will turn it back over to Chase and Andrew for anything else they've got.
So I touched on this already, meaning we're at the front doors where we envision the first employment opportunity being built. So we're going through permitting for that now. And once West Boulevard delivers, that's this road that runs sort of east to west. Once that delivers, then we anticipate being able to announce some announcements for some of the employment opportunities that'll come here for the space that we'll build. Again, this sort of mass timber. I'm going to move a little quick so we can answer some of these questions. But it's just a very beautiful building. It's very marquee, has a lot of sustainability, environmental thread. You can see a lot of these being built in other markets. This will be the first one built in North Carolina. But otherwise, we see some in Atlanta, some in DC, and in Nashville. But the further you go west, the further they're built. They're a little bit more expensive, but they create where, as the office market is certainly challenging these days, the flight to quality is very important. As companies think about how they relocate and occupy space for the employees, and this being a very employee-centered but yet ESG sort of alignment, this has a strong position to really attract appropriate companies that we want to see in this project. So directly across from West Row, as you come west on West Boulevard, we're putting plans together on how we envision some of the more mixed-use retail, hospitality, entertainment spaces being built. Grocery will be very important. We have to have rooftops and we have to have demographics before that'll come, but we are working with groups now to kind of plan how we see these other amenity retail spaces being provided and what that experience will look like, again, across from that marquee first phase town center that we'll deliver. So it's kind of the precedent images to the right, as far as how we see those kind of four corners being developed out. Very urban, very densified, but yet very marquee and a mix of different uses outside of just, kind of retail. Other projects you can kind of find alignment with, Daybreak in South Jordan and Utah, a lot of the residential, kind of how they create urban densities and outdoor public places. If you've ever been south of Atlanta, the community called Serenbe, it's beautiful. It's very organized around organic farming, which you walk along the sidewalk. They've got blueberry bushes and basil, and it's sort of just collective for the neighborhood. But then they have a very robust farming area where it does work to kind of help feed the community. And that's what, I don't think we mentioned that or not, but the farming opportunity that we'll develop, this is not meant to just be a food plot where someone can come and rent and grow their own vegetables. This will be something where a commercialized farmer will be able to have kind of the CSA program where you can pick up, your share of your sort of membership produce from the farm on a weekly or monthly basis. We're working through some of the details of that, but again, it's a 2-acre farm. Surprisingly to me, I thought it would be not very productive as far as scale, but as we've gone to experience others and seen how these can really be very economical, very organized to provide a substantial amount of produce to kind of, and also a learning environment. We think that just that those 2 acres can have the ability to service about 1,100 homes until we need to expand, and we do have ideas for that down the road. Our own kind of Baxter Village, Baxter is one of those marquee projects that I think everyone likes to see how some of the segmentation of the different housing products, the urban atmosphere, we'll kind of blend a little bit of what's current in today's market, but yet taking some of the wins that we saw being very successfully received in that market in Baxter. And then some of the commercial headquarter employment campuses in Lake Nona, if you've ever been there, very large, scalable, but yet the office environment it's not call centers. These are highly organized, very good workforce employment opportunities. And so I think there were some questions in the chat. I tried to pay attention to some of these now. So tennis has been on the news a lot, and so this opportunity to have this international tennis tournament, but also a campus for education and camps and collegiate and yet community opportunities with concerts and other organized sporting elements for the community to have access, as well as experience something internationally world renowned as the Western and Southern Open that's currently being held in Mason, Ohio. And the group that has purchased that tournament is considering relocating it to Charlotte. And it's been very well received from our state, from our county, from our community. And we think that we've got a really strong shot of seeing that occur. Announcements won't be made until after the tournament is being held annually this August. So sometime in September, we expect that group to make their decision, but we think that we're in a really good pole position. But it kind of, as far as where it's located, so the top right of the project, very far away from a lot of the residential spaces, outside of the sort of traffic flow of the town center. So if you were to get off 45, we'll be building this road that runs north just from the West Boulevard exit into the tennis campus. And then you can also exit crossing over 45 to the north and come down on the east side of 45, so that there's sort of circular traffic flow that does not really get in and clog up the environment that we intend to see built in around the more residential and town center areas. A little more pictures just to kind of give you a sense of the scale of it. I think there's close to 38 courts, pickleball courts, massive amount of parks, and also opportunities for concert series. Right now, this tournament is held in 8 other cities. There's the French Open, the US Open, the Australian Open, and Wimbledon, and then you have these other 9 tournaments. And so those other 9 tournaments are held in very prominent locations that we would love to see sort of organized with Charlotte next in its list. But timing, time is on our side. We've got about a month until we'll know, and we'll see from there how it'll evolve. So I'm going to kind of take it now to some of the Q&A, Tiffany, if you think that's appropriate.
That is great, Chase. There are a number of questions regarding roads, like how wide Dixie River will be coming from Steel Creek, or is there another bridge planned to go across the Catawba?
Yeah. Okay. So all of the major roads within the project, outside of like the community subdivision roads, are 4 lanes, median divided, bike, pedestrian friendly, outside of the roadway network, on-street parking. So it's about 130-foot cross section. Right now, the only road that exists is Dixie River Road, which is a 2-lane, grass swale sort of environment. So as the project gets developed, and I think I can draw on this. So right now, West Boulevard is this road in red, and that's what's being developed now to come all the way across what is Dixie River Road that runs north and south here. And so this West Boulevard will come across into the town center here, 4-lane median divided, as well as a large section up along Dixie River Road that'll also be delivered 4 lanes, day one. And then as the project, develops north and south from that anchor point, then those roadway networks will get further developed to kind of create a similar capacity load as those networks that will be delivered now. The Catawba crossing, that road is shown in concept to sort of do this. And this is a roadway that's been planned, irregardless of the river district. There's always been a desire, I think, for many different stakeholders, both in Gaston County and Mecklenburg County, to see another connection other than the one that's there now, north along 85. And there was a lot of momentum, when this project came to life, to use that to organize energies and leadership to create those opportunities to help fund and develop that roadway network. At that time, it did not get too far within the state, but now there's a very strong organization between both Gaston County and Mecklenburg to see that road go back to the state to be numbered, and then it can be prioritized and provided in a way to then allocate funding. And so it's not a roadway that this project is responsible for delivering. We were planning for it, meaning we're holding out rights of way and we're making sure that we don't interfere with it. But otherwise, as both the greater markets really kind of lead organization behind supporting it, that's what will create that connection. Do you want me to pick some questions, Tiffany, or do you have a couple you picked out?
We also had a lot of questions regarding parking once you get there, and if they're going to be parking garages or if it's all going to be flat surfaces, and a little bit more about the schools that might go in.
Yeah, there'll definitely be parking garages. We anticipate that, again, this being a destination, and so we are doing a lot of traffic modeling to make sure that we're delivering for not just what will happen early, but will happen over a long term. But we do anticipate there being more structured parking here than surface parking. Right now, it'll be a little bit of it'll be more earlier surface parking, and then as the project grows, then structured parking will develop out. As far as schools, so we mentioned earlier, we have a commitment to provide land for CMS. I think it's up to 40 acres. And so we've been working with their leadership to plan for a fairly significant campus here to the top right. So it has the ability to be integrated, not to be centered in the middle of the project, but yet kind of just off, but its main thoroughfare, and yet have a really cool connection to, this will be a wildlife preserve. And so as we think about learning and education and discovery, partnerships with the Discovery Place, partnerships with those environmental groups that we anticipate having a sort of school in the woods, not literally, but just the experience to have outdoor opportunities for children to learn about habitat and just to feel and embrace learning outdoors. I think that there was a lot of momentum through COVID, certainly after the fact, and just the way that kind of gets them out of the classroom, but yet continues to teach them in ways that hasn't been provided otherwise. And there will be other, we've had plenty of interest from different charter schools. We need to begin before we can plan for that. But we do anticipate there being many opportunities for different educational programs outside of just the one CMS campus. That's
great. There are a number of questions around whether investors would be able to buy houses, who is going to be building in the community, are there e-bikes? And I think you've answered it all, but if you want to wrap up and
Yeah. There's been questions since this project was announced about buying investor homes, and that's great if someone's got the opportunity to do that. But that's not something that we're providing early. We will have, like Andrew said, Crescent's not the home builder. We'll build apartments, we'll build retail, we'll build the commercial centers, we'll build the places, the public places, the amenities, all the infrastructure, and we do have some single family that we will develop, but otherwise the bulk of that will come from partners in the market that will build homes here. We see this being somewhere between 5 to 8 different home builders, constantly active, some smaller, much smaller scale, but then some of the really great ones that can create, good capacity and scale to build here. And whether or not they offer that for the ability for there to be investors, I'm sure that can be how they market and sell homes, but I don't believe there will be a offline investor effort.
That is great. We also had a number of questions around whether there will be riverfront homes and whether there will be any docking available that would be motorized. And I believe you said not, but I'd like you to clarify that.
To be very intentional, we have no interest or desire to provide for that. To be honest, as a kind of counter that, the reason that most of the market doesn't have access to the river is because it is all private docks. And so this is a way to embrace the ability to have commercial public spaces to be built using the river to access, to have the enjoyment that others don't unless you do have that private dock. And that was an intentional plan we had from day one.
Okay, will there be any access for people that do have motorized boats to come and dock and go to restaurants and walk and do any shopping was another question.
We're trying to explore that, but mostly it'll be non-motorized ingress egress, right? So and a lot of that has to do with Duke Energy and the way the shoreline classifications are allowed. What we're not looking for is the kind of a fueling station type program. So whether or not there's an opportunity to have a couple boats, I think that would be a great thing. But to have a campus of boats, that's not something we've got, I think, the capacity or the shoreline to do just yet. But as this grows, this is our vision for kind of early. And I think what this project will see is that day one, it'll grow over time, similar to as Ballantyne has. It started off, became huge, became very much the city of the future. It's now changing and evolving. And so I think as this project grows and matures and we recognize what the residents, the community, and the citizens want, we'll grow with it.
Well, thank you so much to Chase, Andrew, and Lee for that information-packed presentation. And thank you, Jerry Ann and Piedmont Regional Association of Realtors for partnering with us today's program. Please remember that September is Realtor Safety Month, so make plans to join us in person for Realtor Hot Topics Self-Defense Seminar for Realtors. Don't be the next victim on Friday, September 15th from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Realtor April Criggan Hudson will be conducting this hands-on course where you can participate or practice relevant and realistic self-defense moves. Registration is up at canopyrealtors.com. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this Monday morning. I hope you have a fabulous week and a wonderful day. Take care.